Greetings to Dr. Awang Darvizi and my fellow friends. My name is Indah Andriani with number Mantic 290856. So today I would like to explain to you guys about the turmoil between the Cyprus and the Turkey. And then we started. So the Cyprus conflict is a long-standing and a complex issue that has been a source of the tension between Turkey and Cyprus for decades. So as we know that the conflict began in 1974 when Turkey invaded the northern part of Cyprus in response to a military coup backed by the Greek government. So this invasion led to the partition of the island, with the northern third governed by the Turkish Cypriots and the southern two-thirds by the internationally recognized Greek Cypriot administrations. The conflict has been marked by military occupation, population displacement, ethnic segregations, and human rights violations, making it a significant challenge to resolve. So despite the numerous efforts at reconciliation, the conflict remains unresolved. The Turkish Cypriot leadership has advocated for a two-state solution, while the Greek Cypriot administration has pushed for a unified federal state. The international community has been involved in the various peacekeeping efforts, including the United Nations peacekeeping force in Cyprus. But the progress has been slow. So today, the conflict continues to affect the daily lives of the people on the island, with the Green Line separating the two parts of the island and the presence of the Turkish military force in the north. So the economic and the social disparities between the two regions are significant, and the conflict remains a major obstacle to regional stability and cooperation. So in these presentations, we will delve deeper into the history and the current state of the Cyprus conflict, exploring the key events, actors, and issues that have shaped the conflict over the years. We will also examine the various attempts at the resolution and the role of the international community in addressing this complex and protracted issue. So let's go deeper into the issue. So let's move on to the next slide, which is the causes. The Cyprus conflict is a complex issue with multiple factors contributing to its origins and persistence. So, what are the causes between these conflicts? So, here is a detailed explanation of the key causes. The first cause is colonial legacy. The British colonial rule over the Cyprus from 1878 to 1960 created a power vacuum and fueled ethnic tension between the Greek and Turkish Cypriot populations. So, the British administration exacerbated this division by supporting Anasis, favoring Greek Cypriots, and creating a power vacuum. So, in supporting Anasis, the British support the Greek Cypriot majority desire for Anasis, which led to increased tension between the Greek and Turkish Cypriots. Next, I already told you about the favoring Greek Cypriots. So the British administration favored the Greek Cypriots, who made up the majority over the Turkish Cypriots, leading to feelings of marginalizations and discrimination among the Turkish Cypriot minority. So next, it's about the creating a power vacuum. So the British withdrawal from the Cyprus in 1960 left a power vacuum which was exploited by the both Greek and Turkish Cypriots, leading to increased tension and eventually the conflict. So now we move on to the next causes. The next causes is ethnic divisions. So the historical presence of both Greek and Turkish Cypriots on the island, with distinct cultural, religious, and linguistic identities, has been a significant factor in the conflict. So the Greek Cypriots, who make up the majority, have historically sought to unite with the Greeks, while the Turkish Cypriots have sought to maintain their autonomy and cultural identity. So there's a key factors including in the ethnic division. The first is historical presence, second is cultural and linguistic differences, and the third is economic and social disparities. So now let's move on to the next causes, which is the Anasis movement for union with the Greeks. So the Greek Cypriots movement for Anasis, which began in the early 20th century aimed to unite Cyprus with Greece. So this movement was fueled by Greek nationalism and led to violent clashes between the Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, as well as between Greek Cypriots and British colonial authorities. So there's a key factors included in the analysis. So first factors is the Greek nationalism. So it means that the Greek Cypriot movement for analysis was driven by Greek nationalism, which emphasized the importance of uniting all Greek-speaking territories under a single state. So the second factors is the violent clashes. So the movement for analysis led to violent clashes between the Greek Cypriots and the Turkish Cypriots, as well as between the Greek Cypriots and British colonial authorities, which further exacerbated tensions. So the third is international support. So this is the key factors that made the movement between the Greece and Union. So the international support is the movement for analysis received the support from Greece and the international community, which further solidified the Greek Cypriot position and created tension with the Turkey. So the last causes of this conflict is the Greek Cypriot coup and Turkish invasion. So in the 1974 Greek military coup, backed by the Greek junta, aimed to unite Cyprus with Greece. So in response, Turkey invaded Cyprus on July 20, 1974, citing its responsibility to protect the Turkish Cypriot population. This invasion led to the partition of the island and the establishment of the United Nations buffer zone or Green Line. So there's a key factors included in the Greek Cypriot coup and Turkish invasion. The first is Greek military coup. The second is Turkish invasion, and the third is partitions of the land. In Greek military coup, the Greek military coup backed by the Greek junta aimed to unite Cyprus with Greece and was seen as a threat by Turkey. So the next factors that I already said is about the Turkish invasion. So in Turkey invaded Cyprus in response to the Greek military coup, citing its responsibility to protect the Turkish Cypriot population and maintain the balance of power on the island. So the next factors in the Greek Cypriot and coup and Turkish invasion is the partitions of the island. So the Turkish invasion led to the partitions of the island, with the northern part governed by the Turkish Cypriots and the southern part governed by the internationally recognized Greek Cypriot administration. So these factors have contributed to the ongoing Cyprus conflict, which remains unresolved to this day. So there's already told that there's 4 causes that happen. So the first causes is colonial legacy, the second is ethnic divisions, and the third one is analysis, and the fourth one is Greek Cypriot coup and Turkish invasion. So there's all of the causes that happened in Turkey's and Cyprus conflict. So for the further information, let's move on to the next presenter.
Cyprus gained independence on August 16, 1960, following the Zurich and London agreements, but this set the stage for conflict involving Greek Cypriots, Turkish Cypriots, Greece, and Turkey. The new power-sharing republic was established with Archbishop Macarius III as president and Dr. Fazıl Küçük as vice president. The population dynamics were tense, with Greek Cypriots 80% seeking enosis unions with Greece, and Turkish Cypriots 18% are fearing marginalizations, thus favoring Taksim or closer ties with Turkey. In 1963, Macarius proposed constitutional amendments reducing Turkish Cypriots' rights, sparking intercommunal violence. A UN peacekeeping force was deployed in 1964 to maintain order. Tension escalated in 1974 when a Greek military junta supported coup aimed at enosis occurred on July 15, prompting Turkey to intervene on July 20, 1974, citing the Treaty of Guarantee, resulting in the occupation of 37% of northern Cyprus. The islands remains divided, with the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus declared in 1983, recognized only by Turkey. The Greek Cypriot coup. On July 15, 1974, the Greek military junta and the paramilitary group instigated a coup in Cyprus with the goal of achieving enosis, installing hardline nationalist Nikos Simpsons as a new leader, alarmed by the potential for ethnic cleansing and marginalization. Turkish Cypriot feared for their safety, citing its role as the guarantor power under the 1960 Treaty of Guarantee. Turkey launched Operation Attila on July 20, 1974 and gained control of 37% of the islands, primarily in the north. This invasion displaced thousands of Cypriots from both communities and resulted in a de facto partition of the islands, with the north predominantly Turkish Cypriots and the south predominantly Greek Cypriots. In 1983, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus was declared and only recognized by Turkey. Cyprus remains divided until this day, with the United Nations maintaining a buffer zone known as the Green Line, and numerous unification attempts have failed. This ongoing division continues to influence Greco-Turkish relations and regional stability. For the Turkish military intervention in Cyprus was actually triggered by a coup d'etat on July 15, 1974 aimed at enosis by Greek Cypriots. Turkish Cypriots fear domination and possible ethnic cleansing caused by the Greek Cypriots, and as a guarantor power under the 1960 Treaty of Guarantee, along with Greece and Britain, Turkey launched Operation Attila on July 20. In the initial phase, Turkey secured the Turkish Cyprus enclave around Crimea, and in the second phase expanded control to 37% of the islands. This led to displacement around 200,000 Greek Cypriots from the north and 50,000 Turkish Cypriots from the south, resulting in a de facto partition in Cyprus. The United Nations established a green line or buffer zone patrolled by the United Nations peacekeeper, but numerous diplomatic efforts for unifications have failed. This has continued to affect the regional stability. The division of Cyprus is actually a central element of the ongoing conflict between Cyprus and Turkey. Rooted in historical, ethnic, and political complexity, the island's divisions was significantly solidified by events in 1974, but the conflict's origin traced back to earlier intercommunal tensions. Cyprus gained their independence from Britain in 1960, creating a fragile state with a Greek Cypriot majority and a Turkish Cypriot minority. The constitution established to balance these communities' interests proved unworkable, leading to inter-ethnic violence in the early 1960s. This conflict foreshadowed the deeper divides as both communities harbored different aspirations. Greek Cypriot favored to enosis, while the Turkish Cypriot sought Taksim. And now we move for the Treaty of Guarantee. Treaty of Guarantee, signed in 1960, is a pivotal document in the context of the Cyprus conflict, particularly concerning Turkey's rules and actions. This treaty was part of the arrangements that led to the establishment of the Republic of Cyprus as an independent state transitioning from British colonial rules. The Treaty of Guarantee was signed by Cyprus, Greece, and Turkey and the United Kingdom. Its primary purpose was to ensure the independence, territorial integrity, and security of the newly formed Republic of Cyprus. The treaty specifically prohibited any activities aimed at promoting either the union of Cyprus with any other state or the partition of the islands. Under the terms of the treaty, the three guarantor powers, Greece, Turkey, and the United Kingdom, were granted the right to intervene unilaterally or jointly to restore the status quo if it was threatened. This provision became the legal basis for Turkey's military intervention in Cyprus in 1974. Greece played a significant role in the Cyprus conflict given its historical, ethnic, and political ties to the Greek Cypriot community and its involvement as one of the guarantor powers under the 1960 Treaty of Guarantee. The relationship between Greece, Turkey, and the respective Cypriot community has been a crucial element in the conflict's development and persistence. Historically speaking, Greek Cypriots have strong cultural and national ties with Greece, sharing a common language, religion, and heritage. The aspiration of enosis, or union with Greece, has been a long-standing goal among many Greek Cypriots. This aspiration significantly contributed to tension with the Turkish Cypriot minority who fear marginalization under a Hellenic state. In the early 1950s, the campaign for enosis gained momentum, leading to the Ochre insurgency against British rule, which sought to achieve this union. Greece's support for the Enosis movement and its involvement in the 1960 independence arrangement positioned it as a key player in Cyprus' future. The United Nations and the British administration struggled to manage the competing nationalism of Greek Cyprus, who sought for enosis, which union with Greece, and the Turkish Cyprus. The situation deteriorated further in 1974 when a Greek-led coup d'etat aimed at enosis prompted Turkey to intervene militarily, setting its right as a guarantor power under the 1960 treaty. Turkey's invasion resulted in a partition of the Cyprus, with the north under Turkish control and the south again under the Greek Cyprus. Controls Britain, while maintaining its bases, primarily played a diplomatic role, often mediating between the parties and supporting the United Nations efforts. The United Nations has been deeply involved since 1964 when it established the United Nations Peacekeeping Force in Cyprus, or UNFICYP, to prevent further fighting between the communities following the 1974 Turkish invasion. The United Nations engaged in numerous diplomatic initiatives to reunify the islands from the south and the north, but these efforts have included various rounds of peace talk, confidence-building measures, and the Annan Plan in 2004, which proposed a federal solution. Although the plan was rejected by Greek Cyprus in a referendum, the United Nations continued to facilitate negotiation for the Cyprus futures.
So hi everyone, in this part we are going to talk about the role of the ethnicity, politics in the conflicts between the Turkish and Cyprus. So we are going to begin with the ethnic composition. Cyprus ethnic makeup with a Greek Cypriot majority is around 75% and a Turkish Cypriot minority is around 80%, creates an inherent power imbalance. The Greek Cypriot majority can feel entitled to dominate decision-making processes, potentially leading to the marginalization of Turkish Cypriots. So when we're speaking about the cultural differences, Greek Cypriots are predominantly Greek Orthodox Christians with ties to the Greece, while the Turkish Cypriots are mainly Muslim with cultural connections to Turkey. These differences in language, religion, and tradition can be seen as barriers to a unified separate identity. However, these differences can also be a source of richness if properly acknowledged and respected. So next up we have the nationalist aspiration. The historical desire of some Greek Cypriots for enosis and unification with Greece has been a major source of tension. Turkish Cypriots see this as an existential threat, fearing domination by Greece and the potential loss of their cultural identity. Turkish Cypriots have historically felt vulnerable due to their minority status. This has led to aspiration for greater autonomy or even partition of the island, with some advocating for closer ties with the Turkey. These contrasting goals make it difficult to find a solution that satisfies both sides. And we go to the third point, which the identity-based mobilization. Politicians often exploit ethnic anxieties and grievances to gain support, which on the other hand we can call it as a form of manipulation. They may demonize the other group, portraying them as a threat to national security or cultural identity. This reinforces us versus them's mentalities and hinders cooperation between the communities. Media outlets and education systems can play a significant role in shaping identity politics. Biased reporting or historical narratives that downplay a shared history and culture can further solidify divisions and hinder reconciliation of efforts. And last point is the division of segregation. When we're talking about the 1974 divide, the 1974 Turkish intervention in Cyprus and the subsequent division of the island into a Greek Cypriot South and Turkish Cypriot North created a physical barriers between the communities. This limited interaction and personal connection, fostering suspicion and mistrust. Segregation creates practical challenges on a shared island. Issues like water management, resource allocation, and freedom of movement become more complex when communities are physically separated and lack a framework for cooperation. So we are going to talk about the attempted resolution in the current situation. So we're going to start with the communal talks that happened in between 1975 to 1980s. Following the Turkish intervention in 1974, the UN facilitated talks between Greek Cypriot leader Archbishop Makarios III and Turkish Cypriot leader Rauf Denktaş. The goal was to establish a bizonal, bicommunal federation with a strong central government. But there is a few drawbacks that happen, which the first one is the Greek Cypriot side favor a loose federation with a strong central government, and the second one is the role of the Greece, Turkey and the UK as guarantors for Cypriot independence was a contentious issues. And the last one is the disagreement arose over the allocation of territory between the two communities, with Turkish Cypriots demanding a larger share to reflect their population growth since the division. So the second one is the high-level agreements. After the breakdown of the communal talks, the focus shifted to agreements between Greece, Turkey, and the Cypriot leaders. This agreement aimed to create a more conducive environment for future negotiations by addressing regional security concerns and confidence-building measures. We're talking about 1989 confidence-building measures. These measures aim to ease tensions, such as the following for bi-communist visits across the dividing line. However, implementation was slow and limited. Now we're going to talk about the document of Set of Ideas 1997. This document outlined broad principles for a solution, including a bizonal, bicommunal federation with a rotating presidency. However, it lacked specifics and was not formally adopted by all parties. The next one is Annan Plan 2004. UN Secretary General Kofi Annan presented a comprehensive plan for Cypriot reunification. It envisioned a bizonal, bicommunal federation with a power-sharing government, a rotating presidency and freedom of movement for all Cypriots. This plan also addressed sensitive issues like property restitution and the withdrawal of Turkish troops. Extensive campaigns were launched. However, many Greek Cypriots worry about the concession required, such as power sharing with a smaller Turkish Cypriot community and the return of some property to Turkish Cypriots who fled the south in 1974, which is the Greek Cypriot concern. And the Turkish Cypriots were apprehensive about giving up control over the territory and the potential dominance of the Greek Cypriots majority in a unified state, and that this is the Turkish Cypriots concern. So we are talking about the current situation. The Republic of Cyprus membership in the European Union adds a layer of complexity. The internationally unrecognized Turkish Cypriot North remains outside the EU. However, the prospect of a united Cyprus joining the EU as a whole could incentivize future negotiations. The involvement of Turkey remains a subject of debate to the present day. Greece has remained sensitive to Turkish influence on the island, while Turkey demanded the acknowledgement of Turkish influence on the island, while Turkey demanded the acknowledgement of the Turkish Cyprus Authority. Still, for humanitarian profiling to sustain bargaining strength, it requires continued support from the international community and more specifically the UN.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Afia binti Azman and my metric number is 292474, and I will explain to you 6.0, which is regional impact. And the first one is regional conflict. So Turkey and Greece conflict, it happened dated back to history, where in 1923 there's a treaty which called Treaty of Lausanne, which this treaty it defined territorial waters. However, in 1936 Greece extended its territory to 6 miles, which at that time Turkey did not dispute. So the territorial dispute, it happens in Eastern Mediterranean, where both countries claim over the delimitation of EEZ. So this led to tension and military posturing, such as Turkish F-16 were radar locked by Greek S-300 air defense systems deployed on the island of Crete in August 2022. Agency has also been the point of this conflict, where airspace violations and competing EEZ claims have led to increased, as I said, military posturing, with both countries engaging in naval exercises and deploying military assets in the waters. cases such as Turkey claims that Greece violated its airspace and territorial waters 1,123 times in the first 8 months of 2022, while Greece accused Turkey of 78 violations of Greek airspace on August 24, 2022, involving 23 planes, which 15 were armed. The Cyprus conflict has been significantly influenced by the exploration and exploitation of oil and gas reserves in the eastern Mediterranean, particularly in the EEZ of both countries. The discovery of significant energy resources in the region has led to a race between countries in the region, especially when 2009's discoveries of gas in Israel and 2050s in other regions as well. So the discovery of hydrocarbons has intensified the rush to control and exploit these resources, leading to overlapping and competing claims in EEZs of Turkey and Cyprus. Turkey opposed ROC as the only one who's conducting energy exploration activities. The discovery of significant hydrocarbon resources in the region intensified the disputes, as these resources are crucial for energy security and economic development. Turkey imports a large portion of its energy needs, 72.4% as of 2018, making it highly dependent on foreign energy. This dependency has driven Turkey to aggressively pursue hydrocarbon exploration in contested waters to reduce its reliance on imports and to increase its energy security. And the European Union has intervened in efforts to mediate the dispute and promote regional cooperation. However, due to Turkey's drilling activities, the EU has suspended negotiations on the Comprehensive Air Transport Agreement and decided not to hold the Association Council and other high-level dialogues with Turkey. Turkey-Cyprus conflict has implications in the EU, where in 2004, Cyprus joined the EU, but only Greek Cypriot-controlled southern part is recognized internationally, while the northern part, controlled by Turkish Cypriots, remain unrecognized. This division with the member state creates internal tensions and complicates decision-making processes within the EU. Turkey does not recognize the Republic of Cyprus, a stand that has severely strains its relations with the EU. This non-recognition directly impacts Turkey's EU accession negotiations, such as frozen negotiations. In response to Turkey's position, the EU has frozen 8 out of 35 chapters in Turkey's membership negotiations, reducing Turkey's chances of joining the EU. There's also mediation limitations, where the EU's ability to act as an effective mediator has been questioned, revealing the challenges in resolving deeply entrenched conflicts. Next one is Turkey-European Union membership. So the debate surrounding Turkey's potential membership in the EU is deeply intertwined with the ongoing Cyprus conflict. Both supporters and critics of Turkey's accession use the Cyprus issues to bolster their arguments. So the first arguments in favor of Turkey's EU membership is economic benefits. So growing economy. Turkey has a large and rapidly growing economy. Its membership could open up a new markets for trade and investment, benefiting both Turkey and the EU economically. The next one is strategic location, also in the economic benefits. Turkey's geographical position makes it a valuable hub for EU trade and investment, particularly with regions in the Middle East and Central Asia. And the second argument is regional stability and security. Turkey is already a member of NATO, and its inclusion in the EU could strengthen cooperation between Turkey and European countries, so it potentially reduce regional tensions. Turkey's EU membership also can provide a structured platform for addressing and potentially resolving conflicts, including the Cyprus issue, to enhance dialogue and cooperation within the NATO membership. And the third one is promotion of democratization and rule of law. The EU promotes democratic values and human rights. Turkey's accession could accelerate democratic reforms in the country, improving the rule of law and the treatment of minority groups and the media. There's also argument against Turkey's EU membership, which is the first one is Cyprus conflict. Non-recognition of Cyprus. Turkey's refuse to recognize the Republic of Cyprus and its complex relationship with the Turkish Cypriot create a significant tensions and mistrust within the EU. So the unresolved Cyprus conflict is a major obstacle in Turkey's accession negotiations, with critics doubting that a resolution is likely in the near future. And the second one is human rights and rule of law concerns. Despite some progress, Turkey's human rights record remains problematic, especially regarding the treatment of minority groups and the media. So it concerns about the independence of the judiciary and the rule of law in Turkey raise a question about its readiness to join the EU, which requires adherence to strict democratic standards. And lastly is geopolitical concerns. Turkey's accession could disrupt the regional balance of power, particularly affecting its relationship with Greece and the broader dynamics within the Eastern Mediterranean. And integrating Turkey could complicate the EU's ability to maintain a coherent foreign policy, as Turkey's regional ambitions and conflict, such as the one with Cyprus, might clash with the interest of other EU member states. In 7.1, there's a short discussion on whether Turkish occupation of northern Cyprus is comparable to Israel's occupation of Palestine. So the Turkish occupation of northern Cyprus and Israel's occupation of Palestine are two complex conflicts with distinct historical, political, and legal contexts. Although they both involve foreign powers occupying territories, there's several significant differences set them apart. So the first one is international recognition and legitimacy. For Northern Cyprus, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is recognized only by Turkey. No other country acknowledges its sovereignty, which limits its international legitimacy. And the international condemnation, the Turkish occupation of northern Cyprus has been widely condemned by the international community, leading to significant economic and diplomatic pressure on Turkey. However, but in Palestine, the state of Palestine has broader international recognition, being recognized by many countries and international organizations, although not universally acknowledged as a sovereign state. And the international response to Israel's occupation of Palestine is more divided, with some countries strongly condemning it, while others, particularly Western nations, have shown more varied stances. So the second one is nature and extent of occupations. So the Turkish occupation of northern Cyprus, for its military presence, there is a significant Turkish military presence in northern Cyprus, and the area operates as a separate state with its own government and administrative structures only recognized by Turkey. And its impact on local population is the occupation led to the displacement of Greek Cypriots and the establishment of distinct Turkish Cypriot identity. While the Israel's occupation of Palestine, there's a complex control where Israel maintains a more intricate systems of military and administrative controls over the West Bank and Gaza Strip. These include settlements, checkpoints, and restrictions on movement. And its impact on local population is the occupation has resulted in the displacement of Palestinians and has involved extensive military control over their daily lives. So if we nature and extent of occupations in Cyprus conflicts, the Cyprus conflicts arose from ethnic tensions between Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, culminating in Turkey's military intervention in 1974 following a coup aimed at unifying Cyprus with Greece. However, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the conflict is rooted in colonialism, nationalism, and competing claims to the land, with significant events like the establishment of Israel in 1948 and subsequent wars exacerbating the situation. And the last one is living conditions. So for the Northern Cyprus, Turkish Cypriots have a degree of autonomy and self-governance with their own elected government and civil administration. And the conflict between Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots has been relatively less violent compared to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. However, and for the Palestinian military occupation, Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza live under Israel military occupation with limited self-governance. The situation is marked by frequent violence and armed confrontations. Israel also has encouraged large-scale Jewish settlements in the West Bank, significantly altering the demographic and geographical landscape. Process and regional dynamics, where in Cyprus there has been reunification efforts. There have been several efforts to reunify Cyprus, such as the Annan Plan in 2004, but this has failed due to political disagreements. And there's also bilateral conflict. The issue primarily involves Greece and Turkey, with limited broader regional implications. whereas in Israel-Palestinian conflicts, the peace initiatives, there's a numerous peace initiatives, including the Oslo Accords and the Camp David Summit. It have attempted to resolve the conflict, but have been successful due to deep-rooted issues. And the conflict is deeply intertwined with regional and international geopolitics, affecting the stability of the broader Middle East and involving multiple national actors. This conflict can be seen from historical context, where first is British colonial legacy. Cyprus was a British colony until 1960. The colonial period existing ethnic tensions between Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots. And the second one is ethnic divisions. The island is home to two main ethnic groups, which is Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots. Which is the Greek Cypriots is the majority and the Turkish Cypriots is minority. These divisions have been a central factor in the conflict. And there's enosis movement. Greek Cypriots aspired for enosis or union with Greece, which was opposed by Turkish Cypriots who favored either partition or maintaining the status quo to protect their community. And there's also in 1974 coup and Turkish invasion. A coup by Greek nationalists aimed at unifying Cyprus with Greece prompted Turkey to invade, citing the Treaty of Guarantee, which allowed intervention to restore the constitutional order. This led to islands division. So there's consequences of this conflict, which is the first is military occupation and displacement. The northern part of Cyprus remains under Turkish military occupation, leading to significant displacement of Greek Cypriots from the north and Turkish Cypriots from the south. So there's also human rights violation. Both sides have reported human rights abuses, including property rights issues, missing persons, and other violations stemming from the conflict. However, there's efforts at resolution, which is UN and EU mediation. The United Nations and the EU have been involved in mediation efforts. For example, the UN established the United Nations Peacekeeping Force in Cyprus, which is the UNFICYP in 1964, and also the Annan Plan in 2004, a UN-led initiative aimed at reunifying the island, but was rejected by Greek Cypriots in a referendum. Despite various peace initiatives, entrenched positions and distrust between the communities have made progress difficult. There's also geopolitical implications, which is the EU membership and Turkey's accession. The Republic of Cyprus joined the EU in 2004. The unresolved conflict complicates Turkey-EU accession aspiration, as Cyprus can veto Turkey's membership bid. And the division within the EU itself is evident, as the conflict hinders a unified stance on the Eastern Mediterranean issues, including energy exploration. So for the energy exploration, the discoveries of oil and gas in the Eastern Mediterranean have intensified the conflict as both sides seek to control these resources. This has added another layer of complexity to the geopolitical dynamics. However, a lasting resolution requires addressing historical grievances and fostering mutual understanding between Greek and Turkish Cypriots. And there's a need that sustained and inclusive dialogue supported by the international community is essential. Any solution must respect the rights, identities, and aspirations of both countries. This includes equitable power sharing, security guarantees, and economic integration. So in conclusion, the Cyprus conflict is deeply rooted in historical grievances, ethnic aspirations, and geopolitical complexities. Resolving it requires a multifaceted approach involving diplomacy, dialogue, and a genuine commitment for reconciliation. The conflict's resolution is not only vital for Cyprus, but also for regional stability and international relations, particularly in the Eastern Mediterranean.